Let's face it, one of the hardest things to deal with is realizing that someone just doesn't like you, and they're hiding it behind fake politeness and insincere smiles. It's tough, right? We've all been there, feeling like someone who seems friendly on the surface is secretly rooting for us to fail. But if we don't recognize the signs, we end up wasting time and energy on people who will never truly have our back. In this video, I'm going to break down the subtle, sneaky ways people show their true feelings while trying to cover it up. Watch till the end to discover how to spot these behaviors and how to protect your energy. 1. They joke about your flaws, but it's no joke. You know that one person who always seems to find a way to laugh at your expense? We all do. They're the ones who disguise their digs as just jokes. They'll joke about how you dress, the way you talk, or even how you handle your work. At first, it seems innocent enough, right? A little teasing here and there can't hurt. But when the jokes keep happening and they're always about your so-called flaws, that's when you need to stop and think. I once had a friend who constantly made jokes about how messy I was, always poking fun at how disorganized my workspace looked. It was funny the first few times, but then it became clear that the jokes weren't just for laughs. There was something deeper there, a hidden agenda to undermine my confidence. The problem is, we're often conditioned to brush off these comments because, hey, if you can't take a joke, you're the one being overly sensitive, right? Wrong. These so-called jokes are a way for people to see how much disrespect you'll tolerate. It's a form of control, allowing them to keep you feeling small while they maintain the upper hand. The more you laugh it off, the more they'll push. But here's the deal. You don't have to stand for it. When the line gets crossed, it's not about being too sensitive. It's about standing up for yourself. You deserve friends who lift you up, not ones who feel the need to knock you down to feel better about themselves. True friends don't need to highlight your flaws to get a laugh. They'll laugh with you, not at you. So, next time you feel like someone's joke is more than just a playful jab, trust your gut. Your self-respect is worth way more than keeping the peace with someone who enjoys making you the punchline. So 2, the compliment that isn't really a compliment. Has anyone ever given you a compliment that left you feeling a little confused, maybe even a bit insulted? Like, they say something nice, but then there's that sneaky twist at the end that just makes it feel wrong. Yeah, that's not in your head. Backhanded compliments are real, and they can mess with you more than you think. I remember sharing a project I'd worked really hard on with some colleagues. I was feeling pretty good about it, and one of them said, "Wow, this is really good for someone like you." Ouch, right? On the surface, it seemed like they were praising my work, but those last 4 words just took the wind out of my sails. Was I not supposed to be capable of doing something good? It made me wonder if they thought I wasn't up to par to begin with. This is how backhanded compliments work. They make you question yourself while the other person pretends to be nice. It's like they're trying to give you a pat on the back while also reminding you not to get too confident. But here's the thing. When people give these so-called compliments, they're often revealing more about their own insecurities than anything about you. They might feel threatened by your success, so they try to bring you down a peg while pretending to lift you up. So what do you do when someone hits you with one of these compliments? Don't just let it slide. Ask them, what did you mean by that? It puts them on the spot and makes them realize you're not going to take their subtle negativity lying down. Most of the time, they'll stumble over their words because they didn't expect to be called out. Remember, a compliment should make you feel good, not question your abilities. And if someone's compliment makes you feel worse, it's time to question their intentions. 3. The silent exclusion. Have you ever checked your phone only to see a bunch of photos of your friends hanging out at an event you weren't invited to? Yeah, it stings, especially when they didn't even bother to tell you about it. Maybe they'll say, "Oh, we thought you were busy," or "It was a last-minute thing," but deep down you know the truth. If they wanted you there, they would have made sure to include you. It's the small exclusions that hurt the most. I've been there, watching people I thought were close friends have fun without me and pretending like it didn't bother me. But here's the deal. This kind of behavior isn't just thoughtlessness. It's deliberate. It's a subtle way of pushing you out of the group without having to say it outright. And that's what makes it so hard to deal with, because no one's actually saying the words, "We don't want you here." But their actions speak louder than words. If you keep brushing it off, hoping it's just an oversight, You're only giving them more room to continue treating you as an afterthought. I used to let these things slide, but after a while I realized that staying quiet only made me feel worse. So, I started doing something that felt uncomfortable at first, but was totally necessary. I started calling them out. I'd casually ask, "Hey, I noticed you guys went to that event. Why didn't anyone invite me?" It forced them to face their behavior, and guess what? Some of them got defensive, but it also made them realize they couldn't just exclude me without any explanation. If people really want you in their lives, they'll make the effort to include you. And if they keep leaving you out, maybe it's time to reevaluate those friendships. You deserve to be around people who value your company, not ones who make you feel like you have to chase after their attention. 4. They're always busy, but not for everyone else. We all have busy lives, work, family, hobbies. It's a lot to juggle. But what happens when someone is always too busy to hang out with you, yet somehow has time for everyone else? It's frustrating, right? You reach out trying to make plans, but they always have some excuse like, "I'm swamped with work," or "I've got a lot going on right now." Meanwhile, you see them on social media, out with other friends, making time for everyone but you. I had a friend like this once. Every time I'd try to hang out, they'd be too busy, but somehow they had no problem grabbing lunch with others or going to weekend getaways. At first, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe their schedule was just crazy. But after a while, I couldn't ignore the pattern. It wasn't that they were too busy, it was that they were too busy for me. Here's the harsh truth. People make time for what matters to them. If someone is always too busy when it comes to you, it's not about their schedule. It's about their priorities. And while that's a tough pill to swallow, it's better to know where you stand than to keep wondering why they never seem to have time for you. So, what do you do when you find yourself in this situation? You have to accept that maybe you're not a priority in their life anymore. It's hard, but it's important to surround yourself with people who value you enough to make time for you, even when they're busy. After all, relationships are a two-way street, and you deserve to be with people who treat you like you matter. 5. The confrontation that comes with telling the truth. Let's talk about that awkward moment when you finally confront someone who's been stringing you along. You know they've been making excuses, avoiding plans, and keeping you at a distance, but they never actually say what's really on their mind. It's all about keeping you on the hook, just in case they need you someday, but without actually investing in the friendship. I've been on both sides of this situation, and trust me, neither one feels good. There have been times when I made excuses because I didn't know how to tell someone that I'd outgrown the relationship. It was uncomfortable, and I knew deep down that I was being unfair. But being on the receiving end of this behavior really taught me something valuable. It's always better to be honest, even if it's awkward or painful, than to drag things out with a bunch of empty excuses. When I finally confronted a friend who was always too busy to hang out, the conversation was super awkward, no question, but it was necessary. That talk gave me the clarity I needed to move on and stop wasting my time and energy on a relationship where I clearly wasn't valued. Here's the thing. Your time and energy are precious. Don't waste them on people who can't be bothered to make time for you. If someone is constantly giving you the "I'm too busy" excuse, it's time to reassess the relationship. You deserve to be around people who are excited to see you, who make an effort to include you, not just when it's convenient for them, but because they genuinely enjoy your company. We often hold on to relationships out of habit, nostalgia, or fear of being alone, even when we know deep down that things have changed. But there's real strength in letting go. It's not about being needy or demanding. It's about valuing yourself enough to walk away from those who don't value you. 6. They avoid physical contact like the plague. Let's talk about a big red flag that's easy to overlook: physical contact, or rather the lack of it. I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. This applies to friendships and colleagues too. Physical contact is a basic part of human interaction, a way we build trust and show connection. So what does it mean when someone goes out of their way to avoid even casual physical contact, like a handshake or a friendly pat on the back? Unfortunately, it's usually not a good sign. It's a subtle but clear message that they're uncomfortable around you, and it's something you should definitely pay attention to. I had a colleague once who seemed to flinch every time I reached out for a handshake. At first, I thought I was imagining things, but then I noticed they were totally fine with everyone else. It wasn't long before I realized that their avoidance of physical contact wasn't just a quirky personality trait, it was a deliberate effort to keep me at a distance. Physical contact is a natural part of human connection, and when someone consistently avoids it, they're not just avoiding touch, they're avoiding closeness, vulnerability, and trust. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to be touchy-feely, but when someone is selective about who they're comfortable with, and you're the one they're avoiding, it's a red flag that something's off in the relationship. Think about it. Have you ever leaned away from someone or avoided a hug because you weren't comfortable around them? It's awkward, and it's usually a sign that the relationship isn't as close as one or both of you might want to believe. I've learned to pay attention to these cues, even when it's hard to admit what they mean. I've been in situations where I ignored the signs, convincing myself that someone's reluctance to get close was just how they are. But the more I reflected on it, the more I realized it was about our relationship, not just their personality. Eventually, I confronted the situation, which led to some tough conversations and, in some cases, the end of the relationship. But it also freed me from the frustration of wondering why things felt off. So here's the deep message. Don't ignore the signs. When someone consistently avoids physical contact with you, it's more than just a preference. It's a statement about how they feel about the relationship. If you notice this pattern, don't be afraid to address it. It might lead to a deeper understanding, or it might reveal that the relationship isn't as solid as you thought. Either way, it's better to confront the truth than live in denial. You deserve relationships where physical contact isn't something to be avoided, but something that happens naturally and comfortably. These small gestures build trust and connection, and if someone consistently avoids them, it's a sign that something's not right. 7. They disappear when you need support. Here's a tough one. Nothing reveals the true nature of a relationship like a crisis. When things get hard, you find out who your real friends are. So, what does it say about someone when they disappear the moment you need them the most? It's more than just being flaky. When someone pulls a disappearing act during your darkest times, it's a clear sign that they're not as invested in the relationship as you thought. And let's be real, it's not just hurtful, it's a betrayal. I learned this the hard way during a particularly rough time in my life. I was going through something really heavy, something that shook me to my core. Naturally, I turned to the people I thought were close friends, expecting some support, even if it was just a quick text or phone call. But guess what? Nothing. Crickets. The people I'd been there for during their tough times suddenly had every excuse in the book. Oh, I'm so busy with work, or I'll check in with you later, but they never did. It was a brutal wake-up call. I realized that while I'd been there for them in their moments of crisis, they couldn't be bothered to return the favor. Here's the harsh truth. A lot of people will be there for the good times, to party and celebrate with you, but when things get real, they disappear. It's easier for them to ghost you than to deal with your pain or discomfort. The reality is, they just don't care enough to be there when it counts. Support isn't about convenience. It's about showing up when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, and when it's the last thing you want to do. The people who disappear when you need them the most aren't just letting you down. They're showing you exactly where you stand in their life. But here's the deeper lesson. Don't let their absence make you bitter. Let it make you better. Use it as a filter to sift out the people who don't deserve a place in your life. The ones who stick around, who check in, who show up even when it's inconvenient. Those are the people who truly matter. And those are the relationships worth nurturing and cherishing. In the end, life's too short to invest in fair-weather friends. Surround yourself with people who will stand by you in the storm, not just bask in the sunshine. Because when you find those rare individuals who stick around when the chips are down, you've found something truly worth holding on to. Conclusion. It's never easy to realize that someone in your life might not like you as much as they pretend to. But recognizing the signs is the first step to protecting your energy and surrounding yourself with people who genuinely care about you. Whether it's backhanded compliments, exclusion from plans, or always being too busy, these behaviors reveal more about them than about you. You deserve friends who lift you up, not ones who bring you down. So, trust your gut, set boundaries, and don't be afraid to walk away from those who can't see your worth. Life's too short to settle for anything less than real, supportive relationships.